Pad.
Setting it up, so it should be getting started. All right. There we go. That is ready. And we'll do a record.
What's on you?
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good
You are
morning.
here with Canva Real Estate or Real Estate Canva Lab. I'm Rayson Frost, and I'm here with
Joy Johnson.
And we are excited to continue our bulk create series where we break down into small bite-sized chunks all the different pieces to get you to the point where you can be a bulk create champion for your social media posts or for anything else that you want to do as a real estate agent utilizing Canva sheets. So I am going to go ahead and get straight into it. Let me share the screen. I think I want to do desktop.
I love this breaking it down into little bits. It's great.
Yes. And we're looking at ourselves right now, I think. Hold on here. Let me
My hair's all over
make
the place.
everyone smaller here.
Yeah, make me smaller.
All right. All right. Now you should be, I have no idea what you all are seeing. Hopefully you're seeing I've got my big screen on.
We're seeing your EXP dashboard.
Perfect, because that's where I wanted to start. Just as a reminder,
Okay.
If you happen to have an enterprise account, one of the way to get into Canva is to go into your enterprise account. If you're with another brokerage and you have access, you would log into your account. You can also do it and so you hit Canva. That is the way I'll be working from within my enterprise account. Although the features that we're talking about today are all going to be very doable from within actually, I believe almost everything we're doing today, if not everything, is available in Canva Free or Canva Pro, depending on what account that you have. When you get into Canva, typically you should be seeing now the RE Canva Lab. Yes. Okay. So I like to work from my projects folder, and I've already gone into projects and clicked down into the Canva Lab so that I'm right here ready to open up my class sheets. The way that you double check what place you're in down here, when you first log in on the home or project screen, you see the little symbol down here. If I happen to be in my personal account, I would have a little picture of me. But this is just so you can make sure if you log into Canva and you're trying to get to, say you have a free account, you're trying to get to your enterprise account, or things don't seem to be working, that is how you double check where you're at, and you can switch back and forth there if you have previously logged into Canva before from your accounts. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get us started with the Canva class we're going to be focusing on today. So today we are talking all about how to get your data into Canva cleanly. This is data that you have outside of Canva. It's not about connecting data to a specific design yet. We're not going to be creating bulk create designs yet. We're basically just making sure the data is ready for the next step. So if you are actually looking for something else, maybe you want to know how, if you have, as we're going about, you're like, wait, I don't even know how to do the basics in Canva sheets. We do have that in class 1 that you can go watch the recording. Class 2, we talked about actually creating the data directly in Canva sheets. Class 3 was all about using external AI like ChatGPT or Claude or any of those types of AI models to create the data. And then today is all about importing data from other sources into Canva sheets. Whether you created it yourself or used AI, whatever version you have, we're going to tell you how to get it into Canva sheets. As just a reminder, if you do have questions, please put it in the chat. Joy, my partner here, will help me notice if there's something I need to answer right away that she feels is urgent, but otherwise we'll save them to the end because typically we find out we answer those questions along the way. All right.
Yeah.
So, one of the first pieces is to know what clean import ready data looks like. And Joy covered actually this a lot in the external AI class, but I feel like it's important just to kind of summarize this again. When you're ready to take it from your external source, whether it's directly from the AI, whether it's from Google Sheets, whether it's from Excel, or whatever format it is in a sheet type program, you do want to, the best way, especially if you're doing bulk create. Now, some of these things won't be necessary if you're utilizing Google Sheets for something else, but for bulk create specifically, you want a first row that contains headers. You want each column to have one type of information. Each row will contain one item, each row is going to be all the information needed to create a single post. You don't want to have any extra title rows above the headers or any blank rows in the middle of the data. Ideally, you don't have unnecessary columns, but you can actually ignore unnecessary columns or even extra rows as long as they're broken down at the bottom in a way that makes it really easy to know where to stop. No merged cells. Canva does not appreciate merged cells when you're going to do bulk create. And then you'll notice also that text length is reasonably consistent. This is really important for bulk create because you're going to be creating a template, and that template is going to be replicatable over and over and over for each row of data. So if one text length is super, super short and another is 3 or 4 lines long, it will make your template, the template won't work as consistently. And Joy gave great examples of this in our previous class, the previous class to this, which actually technically I think class 3 it was maybe, about how to specifically tell your AI when you're creating it to make the text length a specific size. Okay. Joy, is there anything else about the sort of absolute, most important bullets of getting your data ready for importing that you want to add before I move on?
I think that covers everything. Yeah, it looks like you got it all there.
Okay, perfect.
I'll speak up if I think of anything, but I think you got it. The text is important, the length. Sometimes punctuation can mess up your text, but I think it's getting smart enough that it's working and not to worry about that.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so we're going to move on. How do we actually get that data into into it? We're going to get started with option 1. Option 1 seems really simple, and that is that basically you just copy and paste. And I do want to highlight again, because this is something that throws everyone off. Copying cells and pasting cells the way that you typically would in Google Sheets or Excel doesn't work in Canva. So sometimes people get a little confused. And what I mean by that is in Canva, you can't just drag. If you drag a box, it will copy it automatically. And so what you want to make sure you're doing, just so you know, when you watch me copy things and paste them, if you're doing it from another Canva sheet, trying to move it into this one, or you're doing something like that, just know that sometimes those things can be a little tricky, working between different types of trying to make the chat box go away here. It's in the way of my screen. Okay.
I was trying to make it go away too, and I realized it wasn't on my screen.
It wasn't your screen. I know. It's like, wait, where is it? It's not working. Okay. So copy and paste. So in this instance, I actually have a very short, I'm going to show you inside of ChatGPT. I have a very short section. Sometimes depending on what you ask your AI to create, it might create something that looks like this, right? So you can see it has the header row on the top in bold, and then it's got the columns here. This is formatted perfectly, but it is not in a format to download. It's just a format to copy from within your thing. And if you're starting with something small or only have, maybe 10 lines, sometimes it'll produce something like this if you haven't specifically asked it to create something different. So just because I want to show you how to copy information, and this is from within ChatGPT, but this would work from within any format. If you're copying things, I'm going to copy this table and I'm going to go back to class here and I'm going to paste. You do have a paste special where you can do values only versus or format only. If you happen to have something that has a lot of data in it rather than text, and you want to only paste the values and not the format, you do have that option. But in this case, I'm just going to paste. And what I want you to notice, because this is what happens a lot when you copy and paste things, is that when it comes into Canva, it takes the information, but it doesn't necessarily, copying and pasting doesn't necessarily bring the formatting along with it all the time. So for example, here, topic, hook, caption, CTA, that header row was in bold, separated, easy for you to see. You don't necessarily need it to make bulk create work, but I do find, just like with Joy, that having that visual that makes you notice that it's something different can be really helpful when you're doing the merging of data for the bulk creation. Okay, and it may also be important if you're creating it for something else and you really kind of want it to look pretty. So I went ahead after the fact and just basically selected the row and bolded it. So this would be perfectly acceptable, ready to go. You could make it even prettier if you wanted to, wrapping the cells or making the cells fit correctly for the text that's in it, anything like that. But it's not necessary step for doing for the actual class itself. The only exception would be if you wanted to make sure just visually at a glance to see if you had any super short or super long text for the merge because you hadn't necessarily done that in the steps. Visually I could say, okay, there's a little bit of difference, but there's not one that's like 2 words and another that's like 2 lines. So that would be the only reason I would say you want to do that. Okay, the other option for copying and pasting is, and I'm just going to copy right over this, but is you can literally, I'm going to copy and paste from here. These are some motivational quotes. You can literally just select it. I'm selecting it, and then I'm going to copy. I'm showing you what I'm doing versus using shortcuts. Those of you that know shortcuts can use it, but I just want you to see. And you can also go in here and you can hit paste. Now you'll notice when I'm doing this, I'm selecting the top left corner, right click, and then right clicking, and then I'm selecting paste, and then it pastes into the columns. And what you'll notice is, trying to show you here, I had a blank column here, and I selected all the way over to here. So I have a couple blank columns. Again, it's not horrible, but it's also not as clean when it comes to doing it. The other thing you'll notice is because I was copying data, let's say, I had already done all of these up here. I had not yet done the ones that are below this. This is how I knew. I kind of put a divider in there, was like, okay, I'm not going to do these yet. So because I haven't used these yet, they don't have a header row. So when I copied them over to here, there's no header row. You have to fix this right away or you will end up, so I'm going to insert a row. Last time I had to bold it. This time I'm just inserting, if I can make it work, add row. And I'm going to quote, author, type. There you go. So I'm putting in a header row here for me to make it easy. That's one of the fundamental things. You have to have a header row to connect your data. Okay, so those are 2 ways to copy and paste. What you will notice when you copy and paste is that you do lose some of the formatting. And just in case you're copying and pasting something else like this, I just want to show you what this could look like if you're creating a different type of thing from Canva. So in this case, you notice it lost the color for the two ones that don't have data here. You see this here when you go back over here. It lost the color for these. So sometimes it brings over formatting, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it brings over part of it, sometimes it doesn't. That's why you'll notice that when Joy in her class before last week was doing external, the external ones, what she was doing was she was actually asking her AI to create it in the CSV format. And the reason for that is because the Excel can carry a lot more extra formatting. If you save something in the Excel format or even in Google Sheets, it can carry a lot of that other formatting, the colors, the bolds, different sizes. It can even have hidden formulas, all sorts of stuff in it. CSV is very simple. It like strips all of the fancy formatting, pretty stuff away and leaves it down to just the simple text information. And so if you export your file as CSV and you import it and then just make your corrections to formatting inside of Canva, it's your cleanest way of importing data. And so that's why you'll saw when she did that, that's what she asked her AI to do. It doesn't mean you can't import it from Excel or Google Sheets. You'll see that in a little bit. But what it does mean is that sometimes there's less cleanup you have to do after the fact if you start from a simpler format. All right. All right, so that was copy and paste. Now we're going to move on to option 2, which is to upload. So for uploading, I wanted to choose upload to show you what happens. First of all, a lot of the time you'll have something, most of the time you may have something like I created this motivational quotes. It's a single sheet. There's no extra tabs. No, this is actually, I think in Google, is this in Google Sheets? But it was originally in Excel. It's just a single sheet, no extra tabs. And here is the motivational challenge. This is something that Linnea created for a little challenge for us at one point. And I wanted to show this because it's a different use for Canva Sheets. And it also has 2 tabs in it. And so what I wanted to show you is when you go to Canva and you go to uploads, I've already imported it here, 30-day holiday video. This is a reminder that Canva Sheet doesn't have tabs. What it has are pages. And so what you'll see here is one of 2 pages. So if you do upload something that has multiple pages, you may not want to put all of the information in. So what I'll do is when I click on, I've already uploaded it, right? Those of you to upload, you click the upload button, you select your file, you say open, and it uploads it in here, okay? So if I were to click on it, you'll see that both pages, I'll show that again. So rather than selecting the box or right clicking, I just click on the actual thing itself. It shows both pages. So now I can select, because maybe I only want to import, maybe I have a big document, maybe it's motivational quotes, testimonials, maybe I keep all of my stuff for bulk create in one big Excel file or one big Google Sheets file, but I only want to import one page at a time. So I can do that. I can select the one page. And then your options are to replace the current page or add as a new page, right? So I am here on this. I don't want to replace it. So when I click on it, I'm going to say add as a new page. And there it goes, pops in, and it has the new page. Now, if I were utilizing this for bulk create for some reason, let's say I wanted to create cards to give out to agents or to give out to, you know, with a theme and a video prompt, right? Then what you might notice is that this has more than one header. You would have to get rid of these. This one right here. And this is, you see, this one's merged already. This is merged. It came from, that was already in the formatting. It's a merged thing. So I would need to delete this. And I would also need to know ahead of time that I was only going to go through row 7, or I would need to get rid of these individual rows like week 1 and week 2, because if you leave that, it's going to mess up. If you tried to do all 4 weeks into individual little pretty cards in your bulk create, this would show up in place, and you'd have to go, after you did the creation, you'd have to go delete all this stuff. So the way I would do it if I were preparing this for a bulk create is I would delete my rows. These rows, doesn't matter that it's, you know, that was for getting it together. I'm going to delete all my rows. And now I have the day. So now I have 28, oops, missed one. Delete row. Now I have 30 days of themes and video prompts. And I would probably even potentially get rid of this. However, with a column, when you're merging data, you can ignore an entire column. You can't ignore an entire row as easily, but it's a lot easier to ignore a column because I can just connect the day, the theme, and the video prompt. Okay. So what I want to do is just show you once again that if you, I'm going to go back and show you a couple of things here. We've uploaded it. If I were to select this whole thing right here, see if it'll do it. I did not. Okay. I can apply both pages if I did want both tabs, whether 3 tabs, 4 pads, whatever. The difference is that the reason I don't do that is because look what pops up. If you select more than a single page to import at a time, it will say replace all pages with templates. And I don't want to do that. This is not, I don't want this, it'll literally place pages on here that I don't want it to. So I always do it 1 page at a time. Sometimes I will replace current page. That's not a problem, but I rarely do I ever, even with regular templates, do I apply both pages or apply all pages if there's more than one thing, because it will replace multiple things. All right. So here, and I'll just show you because I can go backwards, but if I think I can go backwards.
I was nodding and agreeing with you, but I was
Yeah.
on mute. Yes, because I've done that. And
it,
you say, wait, what did I just do?
yeah, it really,
It's
it
one of those
doesn't,
moments.
yeah, you would think just like with this one, that if you say there's no add as a new page and you can replace current page, it's current page or like all pages. And you're like, it really messes it up. So just don't do that. And then the other thing, because this can be helpful, is that if you have something uploaded, and you can be helpful when you're creating your sheets. If you want, sometimes you have like a link, like you might want a master Canva sheet that holds all of your, you know, let's say I have 4 different versions of motivational quotes, or I have, you know, 2025 testimonials, 2026 testimonials, whatever. You can actually embed a design. We showed this to you before, but just as a reminder, same thing here. I could embed this design into the cell, and it creates a direct link to that Canva design. So that is something that is useful, I find, when you're creating your design or sheets. If you have additional sources or other Canva designs, or even just a template, you know, if you have a design that you've already made that you want to make it easy to click on for doing the bulk create, that can make it really handy to know how to do that. Okay. All right. So option, we're going to keep moving forward here. That was the upload option. And the option 3 is how to import data via Google Sheets. And so to do that, I wanted to do this totally from scratch. So what I do is I'm going to add page. Okay. So I'm on a blank page. I select a cell. I go to actions and I say import data. And you can see there are a lot of different data here. You can also from here upload your data, and you'll see it specifically says XLSX and CSV, and that will take you directly to your upload page. So you can even do it this way. But if you're going to import data from Google Sheets, there are some other ones if you happen to have access to, if you are a member of SheetSync, you know, a lot of these you have to be members of outside of it. But if you have a Google Sheets thing, you choose your account. And then you have to give it permission. Let's select all.
I'm glad you're showing this part.
That's
did
why
it
I
so long
waited.
ago
Yeah,
that I
know. And then
hardly
I don't
remember
even
where
know
it
how to
was.
unconnect it, but now it's there. So, okay. And this is what I wanted. I wanted the motivational quotes. So it finds, these are spreadsheets that I've recently opened. You can also search. So it is good to know ahead of time the name of what you wanted. Like I could do motivational and it'll pull up, right? Like if I know the name of it, because these are just like recently opened ones. So it's really good to have already gone in and opened the document or know the name of it so you can search for it, because it's only going to connect the Sheets part of your Google Drive. So I'm going to select the motivational quotes, and there's only one sheet, so that's all I'm going to pick. And it shows it up here. And you see where it says data, you can add an action, find and replace, fill blank cells, swap rows with columns. That's in case your data isn't formatted the way that you need, if you happen to have had it the reverse. So that this one I think is important for you, possibly if you happen to, you know, to notice here, I knew I was using this for social media, for bulk create. So I have my each quote is on a row this way. But if you happen to put the quote here and the author here and build it out in the reverse, then you could swap rows with columns. All right. Hopefully that makes sense if you've ever seen, you know, the data different. So you can do that. And the other thing, remember I said like how I have this black line in here, you can go it's not showing up right now. There it is. Because remember, it's not showing up as black because it goes to kind of that basic data. It's right here. I could tell it I only want to go to 53, right? So
yeah,
only to 53. That's only the data I want. So to E53. And then I could also, I'm like, these numbers, this was for me organizing it randomly. I did it 2 years in a row in different orders. So I numbered them and sorted it by that in the past. So I actually only want it to go to A1 to, instead of E, I want it to go to, B. So you see how it changed the data that it's going to import? That's all the data I need. All right. So I did that, and I can say done. And boom, it pops it in here. Now, what's cool is that if I go in and make changes between A1 and B53, I can hit refresh data, right? So if you notice, for example, like if I noticed a problem with the length of the quotes or the author names or all the unknowns happen to be you know, a little U instead of a big U or whatever it is, I needed to change the data in Google Sheets, it would actually update to here. Or if I added more rows in the Google Sheets later and I wanted to come back and change that, I could update it here and hit refresh data. So that's really cool that it keeps it connected and you can just refresh that data. Or if you have like testimonials and you add more testimonials, stuff like that. Okay. So I'm done. I'm happy with the way it is, and I'm going to just X out of there. I've imported it. Now, again, you have to go in and make your final corrections by inserting. I have to add a row because I didn't have one. This is quote. And this is author. Okay.
great.
And I'm going to just mention this. But we're not covering it today, but there is a fourth way, and that is you can actually utilize AI Connect through like ChatGPT and Claude. Those may be the only two. There may be if there's a third one, I didn't sound familiar, but you can go just to Canva Help and literally just say, you know, if you put in AI connector and search, it'll pull up with, you know, all the details about how to do it, which plan you can do it in, all that kind of stuff. And if you do that, then you can, there are ways within the AI, like instead of when Joy showed downloading it to a CSV, instead of that, it can automatically create the spreadsheet directly inside Canva. So it kind of saves you a step because you don't have to upload it.
Right. And you don't end up with a bunch of old stuff sitting on your computer that you forgot to get rid of.
Yes, exactly. So I will actually, as soon as I'm done with the class, I'll post this in the class, but these are just basic problems that can happen with your data when you're importing it into it. You saw the missing header, I had to add it. If it's not in the first row, if there are extra rows above it, you got to delete it. If the data pastes into one column, that can happen, especially if you are copying something and it's not perfectly formatted the right way. Sometimes it will only paste when you select that cell and you hit paste, and all the data goes into one cell. You have to go back to your AI if you're not copying it directly from it, from another Excel sheet, and tell it to format it with columns and rows and headers and all that stuff. The merge cells, as you saw, one of the documents had a merge cell, and I deleted it because it kind of breaks when you do bulk create, it can't handle that. It needs to have every cell has to be individually. We talked about the text length. Also vague column names. So when you do your headers, if you just say text 1, text 2, you know, and depending on whether, you know, 2 months from now, you're going to remember what text 1 and text 2 means. Make sure you're descriptive enough that you're going to be able to find them when you're using it and creating it.
And when we start working with it, that will make a lot more sense. That it has to be very clear.
And then if you happen to have a column that has extra notes, so like that, again, you can see I only inserted 1 page instead of 2 page because it was an extra tab. You just got to make sure you know what the data is and you're importing exactly what you need. And then sometimes the wrong data range, I showed you how to kind of fix that. If you don't have it selected, you know, only part of the table comes in, or you have extra things you don't need. And a big one was too much formatting. And you saw from my example of copying the calendar and pasting it in, how it started missing some stuff. Like the more formatting you have, the more likely it is that you're going to lose something. So I think generally speaking, if you're doing it from the start and you're planning on copying it into Canva sheets, starting with it, knowing it's going to be more basic and that you're going to do more of the formatting and visual stuff in Canva is better.
Yes, 100%.
Yep.
That was so good and helpful. I love this checklist. We also have 2 questions.
Yes. What are the questions?
The questions are, what did you mean about merge cells? You usually merge cells after the data is filled and you need a longer box.
Yeah, she ended up answering that.
Okay, I thought we answered that, but I just want to make sure you were clear on that part.
Yep.
Because, you know, it just can't read it. It confuses the little gremlin in there. And then also, did you mean to choose the title line to paste? Would that overwrite the titles on your page? Was the question. And I'm not. I
am talking about doing a blank Excel sheet, right?
Okay.
So if you're importing into a blank Canva sheet, then there are no titles or anything to overwrite. That data would have been created right? Like here, I didn't create one at all. But if I had, you know, them, then I would have definitely wanted to have copied them.
Yeah.
I didn't because I needed number 1. Oops. I needed number 1 to be row number 1 because of how I did formatting some other stuff. That was just, I knew what I was going to doing, and I knew I had to add a row once I imported it. But so I'm
Okay.
not sure. Did we answer that question?
No, when you copy and paste it, you said you have to go to the far left corner and you click the box that already had the title of column 1. And I was thinking that you probably needed to go under that. Otherwise, it would seem like it would override your content line, your header line, rather.
I am not following at all.
Okay.
If you had,
Which copy and paste was it?
yeah, if you
Was
had
it this
titles,
one?
I think it would redo both. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
When I copy and pasted this one?
No, it was all text, and you
This one?
yeah, probably that one.
So I said copy table. It copies, it's going to copy the topic, hook, caption, CTA, and all of this. And then you go to paste. Let me go to the right place. And I do paste.
And
You always,
that was it. And
Okay.
So it would just overwrite the same title.
If you had something there, it would overwrite it. You're
yes,
right.
but I've always,
Yeah.
if you're importing, you probably should maybe not, but if you're importing, you're right. If you, let's say that I don't know, you already had this filled out, this top row filled out, and you didn't have any of this, and you were just copying more data into here, then yes, this method wouldn't work, and you'd have to, play with it. You'd have to post here and then delete this row or whatever. But yeah, it does override. It does override. Wherever you put your cursor, it overrides. So like when I was here and I copied, I'm just going to copy this part. And I go in here, if I put my cursor on 2A and I paste it, it overrides it. So that's why for me, this class is starting from all your data is outside and you're bringing it into a blank Canva sheet. But good point, if you're say adding additional information, like maybe you did Canva AI to get started and now you want to combine something you created outside, then maybe you want to start your paste down here in 5A. Depends on what your goal is. Yeah. Great question.
Yes, absolutely. And that's it for questions. So that was great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing. I'll post this final import checklist into our Facebook group.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.